You are down with.
Yo, Dave.
What up?
Drop the beat.
We like it old school.
Tuesday night.
What you listening to?
The brothers from the 818.
91331.
Pacoima, California.
What's up, Dave?
What's up, Caleb? Real and relevant conversation.
No script.
We invite you into our conversation.
What's going on, people?
You are down with.
The brothers from the 818.
I like that, man. I like that intro. That's right. You are back with the brothers from the 818. My name is Dave. As you know, I'm here with my main man, Caleb. What's going on with you?
What's up, Dave, man? It's great, man. I love the intro as well. I like that we continue to mix it up and bring something new. We continue to develop our podcast as we're doing our podcast. We're like building the car or as they say, building the plane as you're flying it. And so, you know, people get to witness the evolution of the brothers from the 818.
Evolution of the brothers from the 818. Man, we should write this down. I couldn't have come up with something better than that myself. That's tight. The evolution of the brothers. Well, that's right. You with us on Thursday night. Hopefully we don't say that too much. Normally it's Tuesday night, but tonight's Thursday. We purposely put the podcast off for a couple days because of the debates, and we want to make sure that we're talking about that. We got a lot of comments to make about the debate. I even thought about buying a fly and just putting it on my head to kick it, but I'm a dark skinned bro. It might not show up. So I was like, whatever. But yeah, man, things is good. How you doing? How you feeling right now?
Hey, man, I am tired, more tired than usual, but I always love jumping on the podcast, man. The podcast is great. There's a couple of things that I want to shout out, right? So let me shout out my daughter, Iman. She has her own website now,
Okay.
and she's selling product and she's selling her book and she is doing the damn thing.
Okay.
So I want to just mention that.
What's
Also, my nephew, I will say that again.
The website.
ImanAshanti.com. ImanAshanti.com.
You know,
And also, I want to shout out my nephew, Preston. He had a birthday. That was on Tuesday. And also my father this past weekend, they had the family over because my father, he turned 86 years old. I had a chance to hang out with some family, just a small group, just my sibling group, real tight group. My sisters were there, and everyone said that they loved the podcast. So I'm really digging that. The last thing I'll share in my check-in is that my man Scarface, he needs a kidney, and I love Scarface. Anyone that listens to this podcast know that Scarface is one of my favorite rappers of all time. But I can't give him a kidney, Dave. I just can't do it.
We shouldn't laugh. That's not funny, but I wish you well, Brad Jordan. I do, and I trust that you have people around you or you're high enough up on the waiting list. I love me some Scarface, but my body parts are for me. My boys, my man Caleb, I got you. You know that. Maybe Ernest. You know, if Ernest needed a kidney, I got you too. You know, if you're watching. But everybody else, no. I don't want to put it like that because I love me some Scarface and I don't want to make people feel like I'm insensitive. But
No, man.
That's too bad. I wish him well health-wise. I know he was one of the early people who caught COVID. I don't know if it's related to that at all. That's probably even a stupid statement, but I don't know.
No, he sent out a he was he was on the Twitter and he sent out a tweet that that he needs someone to volunteer for a kidney, and he said he's a B+ blood type, and he certainly indicated that it was due to COVID-19. we kind of chuckled at the thought of um, the thought or the consideration of giving someone that we are a fan of a body part, right?
Right.
And and um, I would have to be a much bigger fan. I would have to be much closer to Scarface in order to do that. We're not making light of the brother's health concerns, but I need my kidney.
A lot younger too. Honestly, if I was younger, I could at least say, man, I'm a fan. If I give him a kidney, he might hook me up. He might, give me a record contract, something. Because when you're young, you think about stuff like that. But nah,
You're
man.
young. When you're young, you're dumb, and you might just do it.
Oh, that's what's up. Well, we praying for you, Brad.
For sure.
All fun and jokes aside, anytime someone can put it out there like that, it's because they're in need. And if you need a kidney, I do pray that someone's going to see that message and respond.
Yeah.
And that his years on this earth are not over, and that his with long life shall he be satisfied. That's what the word says. So we're praying for him.
I like what you said about his inner circle as well.
Mhm.
Like I'm sure he has an inner circle. He has his family and those that are close to him. And if I needed a kidney, I will look you in the face. And then if you said, "Hey, I can't help you, man. I donated that one like last year," then I will look at other people that I was close to, and hopefully he has people that he will be that he could lean on or have those conversations with. So that's my check-in, Dave. What's going on with you?
Man, things are good. I can't complain at all. Work is good. The kids are back in school. Not just my kids, but kids are back in school. So things are going smooth, man. It's just getting it done. Work is always busy. I think we talked about that before. There's never a moment where I'm sitting around saying, "Okay, what do I do next?" It's always something. But it's good. I'm enjoying that. Life is good. Can't complain. I want to give a shout out. Oh man, I wish I could remember her name. Probably going to fact check me on this one. Tamara and Nikki's mama, man, she just made
Vavine.
weekend. What's her name?
Vavine.
Vavine. Vavine made my weekend. If somehow she finds her way to watching this podcast, man, we just had a good time. She was just cool people. We played some Jamaican dominoes. Never done that before, but that was kind of cool. And it was just good hanging out at your house. I always love hanging out at your house, man. It's just always a cool vibe. My kids love your kids, so they're just off doing their thing, but just sitting in the back, getting some nibble on and playing dominoes and listening to music and the whole nine was off the hook. But Vavine just had me on the full crack up, and I was just like, that's what I'm talking about. I love meeting new people that you could just get loose with. So real big shout out to her.
All right, man. I'll make sure to let her know that you recognized her. And I'm glad that you didn't go into detail on Jamaican dominoes. Y'all look it up. Y'all go ahead and leave us a comment on it, and then we could communicate through those comments. And depending on how many people chime in, maybe we'll bring it up next week.
Yeah, I was even thinking about that. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit before doing an episode on the games people play, right? And how come spades is a black game? How come Tunk, Midwest? How come those are black games? How come dominoes? And I shouldn't say black games, urban, right? Because a lot of the Hispanic community and so forth play as well. But yeah, it'd be interesting to get some game players up in the mix and talk about that a little bit. So that's my shout out. Thanks for shouting out Preston and his birthday. He had a great time. Got some gifts. He got some more gifts coming. We're doing a crab boil this weekend. No matter what his birthday is, he wants a crab boil. On your phone, you ever get like either from Facebook or from your pictures, 4 years ago today, and it'll show you a picture.
Yeah.
So I got a 6 years ago today picture. And it was Preston getting something for his birthday, and he was just a little guy then. Now he's 5'9", 5'10" almost, but then he was just a little shorty. Had a little afro, goofy glasses, and it's a beautiful thing to watch the kids grow up. Um,
Yes, it is.
what it really does for me, and not in a woe is me, I'm sad now mode, but it makes me miss their mom because she's not around to see this part of their life, right? I would have loved for her to be able to see her boys grow up.
Absolutely. Rest in
So
peace.
rest in peace, Renee. Yeah. So, but no, man, things are good. Things are good. We got some stuff to talk about, though, man. So like we said, it's Thursday night. We wanted to make sure we did chop it up with you guys. We purposely did not have this on Tuesday night. We knew the vice presidential debate was happening yesterday, and then we could come back into it today. Before I get to that, the one thing I wanted to bring up, just to get your thought on it, and hopefully it doesn't throw us on a tangent. Yesterday, Derek Chauvin was released from jail on $1 million bond that was put up by some other group. It wasn't all his money, but some other group, basically posted bail for him. I think he had to pay some of it. It was him, but he's out of jail. He's the last officer to be released from that incident. And again, doesn't mean he's free. He's just out of jail. He still has to go to court. The same charges that were filed against him, second degree, homicide, third degree, and something else. Those charges are still the real charges, but he's no longer in lockup.
Oh, okay. Before I answer, I just want to say that we spent our check-in just chopping it up, catching up, right, and really bringing our audience into our world, and I love that we do that.
Yeah.
We are structured and wired a little different than some traditional podcasts, but this is like I'm picking up the phone and having a conversation with you. I didn't know that you're going to ask me about Chauvin, right? But I'm glad that you did, because I could offer my opinion. Here's my opinion. I don't care. It's the judicial system is set up in a way, and the courts are set up in a way that if you could post bail, no matter what you did, if they put a bail on your books, if you post bail, then you're able to be released. It sounds as if he had some help in coming up with that money, and my opinion is, I don't care whether or not he's out free. I want justice to be served in the George Floyd case. He could be out free for now, but I would take my conversation or my reaction would be much different if if after the hearing he was set free without any charges or without being held accountable for George Floyd's death. But the system is set up how it is, and I recognize that. I don't want to change it because of George Floyd death. The judicial system, and the prosecutors had a choice on whether or not to place bail or hold him without bail. They put a bail amount, and he was able to come up with that however he did, and the system just needs to play itself out.
I got you.
Wait, before you go, what are your thoughts on it?
No, I'm about to tell you my thoughts on it.
Okay.
Honestly, I was shocked that he was out, first. Let me just say that. But in thinking about it, and I was just curious where you were going to go. Like you, I could give two. I don't care. One, because I just don't care enough about him for it to matter. I'm more still focused on justice being served. And I'm gonna try to tie this together. I'm hoping it works. But one of the things I say in ministry a lot is you can't thank God for the blessing, but curse him for the path he took you through to get to it. Right. And so it's my way of saying be thankful for all things, like James chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. So, we just have to just continue that thankfulness in our nature. Now, why do I tie those two together? You're right. We have a justice system. That justice system has to play out. And unfortunately, it doesn't play too well for Black people to the degree it plays well for white people. But if they set his bail at $1 million and he or someone else was able to raise that amount and get out, then he should get out, right? And that's just the way it is. I'm assuming they don't think he's a flight risk. I'm assuming he's not going back to work. I'm assuming that, actually, I'm not even assuming. I think he has to wear like a monitoring bracelet on his ankle or whatever. Let him go through his process. He ain't getting that money back, right? So if he had to pay that money to be able to walk around and not be incarcerated, so be it. Like you, I'm more interested in the outcome of the trial. And so the tie-in I'll make is this is just process and procedure, and this is just what you have to go through to get to what you want. I'm hoping we get what we want, and that's justice.
Here it is.
At the end of all this conversation. And that's really where I stand on it. It slipped into the news, and had someone not mentioned it to me, then I wouldn't even have known. I mean, it wasn't even like top Yahoo or Google News. It was buried down in there, and someone happened to say to me, "Hey, did you know he got out?" I was like, "Nah." And while we were talking, I hit a couple keys. I was like, wow, okay, well, yeah, whatever. I think they were waiting for me to have a comment, and I just didn't. While I'm on that subject, shout out, I'm just gonna call her KB, right? She knows who she is. Avid viewer, always watching. I don't think she's ever commented or anything publicly, but we always have very good conversations after the podcast, and it lets me know that she's not only watching, but she's listening, right? And having thoughts on the commentary that we make. And like you said, I'm just here to rap with you, man. We have some deep conversations, and our purpose in starting this podcast was to share those deep conversations with others who may want to chime in and give us an avenue to speak our mind and so forth. I'm not a news reporter. I'm not a shock jock. I'm not going to interrupting now, late news, breaking news from that's just not my flow. I'm
Right.
be hollering at you, and I'm glad we can do it in this format, and we're gonna keep doing that. And those who vibe with that, vibe with it. Those who don't, they just don't.
All right, so I got a question for you, because we were about to transition to the debate. I want to also give a shout out to Mr. T. Newman, who is also an avid viewer, and was the one who sent me a text late tonight and informed me of Scarface health concerns. So, Mr. Newman, appreciate you. Before we talk about the vice president's presidential debate, we're skipping a whole bunch of news. The president has COVID-19, right? And since our last podcast, we didn't talk about, it wasn't reported, right, that he had COVID-19 between our podcasts. And we thought about maybe coming on and having a conversation about that. But what are your thoughts about Trump contracting COVID-19?
All right, I got two thoughts, and they're dynamically opposed. So just work with me. And this is our podcast, so we can say what we want, right? I mean, we can keep it real,
right? Without a lot of fresh language, yeah.
Exactly. So here's my thought. And when it happened, when news broke, people were hitting me up, like, okay, Dave, what do you think? What are you gonna say? And I was like, I honestly don't have many words for it. I mean, I don't wish death on anybody. I don't want something to happen. I mean, he's still a husband, he's still a father, and I just don't want him to be president, but let him go back and do movies, and let him go back and, stand trial for some of these accusations. Let him just go back to whatever he was doing and stop being president, and I'll be happy enough. Now, as far as COVID goes, here's the way I look at it, man. And if you habitually drive on the wrong side of the street and knowing that traffic's coming at you and you bob and weave, and one day you get into a head-on collision, I'm going to look you in the eye and I'm going to say, that's what you get. if you're a kid who's reaching for something, and I tell you, hey, you need to stop before you get hurt, and they finally reach for it and they get hurt, that's what you get. So when we have a president that has went after people and told them they shouldn't wear masks, and even told his press crew they can't take that, they need to take it off if they're going to stay in the room, and has admonished his White House staff for not wearing masks and for wearing masks, and has talked about all the rallies that they've had and how nothing has happened and so forth and so on to be diagnosed with COVID-19, I have to shrug my shoulders and say, that's what you get. You play with fire, you get burned, right? I would say the same thing. I wish I knew his name. Fact check me, to the basketball player when COVID first dropped. That was like, COVID's nothing. And he was licking mics and all that. And then got sick. That's what you get. The dude that's out there cheating on his wife and running around doing this, that, and the other, and he gets COVID, that's what you get. If you just, again, it doesn't, who was the, I wish I had one right here so I could just flip it up. Somebody said, if you just wear a mask, right, we could defeat this thing, right? If everybody just protected themselves, we could defeat this thing. We've been talking about this for 6 months. And so I'm just like, just wear the mask, man. And we wouldn't even have this problem. Now, here's the other thought, and I'll let you fire back at me for both. I'm not 100% convinced he has COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Fake news. Right? He can go on and say, if he can go on and say, hey, I got COVID, was in the White House, went to the hospital, 2 days later, a day later, he's riding around in a car, putting other people at risk. 2 days later, he's going back to work. What he can say is, you see how far medicine has gone, and it hasn't filtered down to you yet, but we can beat this thing. Look at me, I got COVID, and 2 days later, I'm fine, right? All them doctors in the hospitals do not work for the president of the United States. All the people that, the White House staff and his Secret Service, yes, they do. But all the other people around, they should be losing their jobs. The Attorney General of the United States needs to be like, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. Or the Surgeon General, or whoever it is that is allowing this, because by letting that person leave the room, you are putting American lives at risk. That's why there's a 14-day rule by the CDC and And even the president shouldn't be able to violate that. I know he's the president, right? But even he shouldn't be able to violate it. And I feel like if his disease, what is it called? A virus? It's not a disease.
Infection.
If his infection is real, then I feel like there are people in hospitals that should lose their job. I feel like that's just wrong. That's just wrong. He's irresponsible, yes, but I feel like the people around it let it happen are irresponsible as well. And there should be some people losing their job because of it. Go ahead.
People are fearful of the president. People can't tell the president, "Hey, put on your pants. You're about to go outside." Like they wouldn't tell him if he wanted to walk outside in his drawers, and he looked down at his legs and realized that he didn't have any pants on, and he looked at them like, you ain't gonna tell me anything. I'm the president. People are just gonna sit back, right? And so during this presidency, people have become fearful, and people have become silent, even when it's their morals and values and character being compromised. There's a couple things, but I mentioned fear, and the president said, you don't have to be fearful of COVID. Well, one of the newscasters said, well, fear is a choice, but danger is real. And they were talking about some of the actions of our president. My thoughts on him contracting COVID-19, I believe he has it.
Okay.
Is that he's reckless, and he's been reckless this whole time. And he's reckless with himself. He's reckless with everyone in his inner circle. I believe his wife has it. his son probably has it too. It just hasn't come out yet, right? Or if he does have it, it hasn't come out, right? I won't say yet, right? But it's difficult to be sympathetic to someone that's so reckless, right? You gave the example of someone driving on the wrong side of the street. It's that kid that's continuing to rattle that stick at that gate with that dog, and then one day that gate is open and that dog is really pissed off, right? um,
Yes.
and so he's reckless. um, if someone had told me that they thought I was being disrespectful to the president, right, I would say that the president is just being disrespectful to the White House. He's being disrespectful to the American people. He's being disrespectful to the democracy of this country. Um, the last thought on this, because I do want to move on. I heard a talk show host called the White House a cluster, like it's a cluster for COVID-19, right? In my military mind, and some of my military friends will understand this, and we can't use any fresh language. We call things that are jacked up a cluster, Fuck, right? And so it is a cluster.
It is.
It's been a cluster for a long time, and it is um, Fucked, right? And so that is what has become of the American image across this nation and across the world. Let's talk about the debate.
One last thing with that, and I can't disagree with you at all. I think in the movie Tango and Cash, they called it foobard.
Oh yeah.
Y'all don't know what foobard is. Again, just look it up. But yeah, I think reckless behavior. We're saying the same thing, saying it very different ways, and I respect that. It's just irresponsible, right? But you can't even be shocked because we've called him irresponsible before, and it is what it is. The one thing that I've agreed with him about recently, because he's pulled out of the third debate if it's virtual. It's like, I'm not doing no virtual debate. What's the point? I agree. What's the point? If you're gonna debate somebody, you need to be face to face. You need to be able to get up. They need to be able to see, smell, hear, see the sweat off your brow, whatever the situation is, the fly on your forehead. They need to be able to catch all of that. So that was one of the things I've agreed with him on in recent times. But yeah, man, honestly, I'm a believer. I'm a man of God, and I believe in that everybody deserves their fair shot, right? And so I do wish him well. If he has it, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm saying it wouldn't shock me if he didn't, and I'm not even sure, right? If he, and part of me is saying he doesn't have it. I just think there's too many other things going on, right? But I do wish him well. Like I said, I just don't want him to be president anymore. He can live another 40 years if he wants and go do whatever he's going to do. As long as he's not making decisions for the fate of this country, Trump can, go do another reality show. I could care less, right? Just let him be away from the Oval Office and the red button. I'll be happy.
Let me say this, man. It's an insult to the American people to believe that if he's back home after 2 days, that that they could contract COVID and be back home too. The number of medical staff that was behind him, the access that he had to medicine. Some of the medicine is in trial still that he was using. My wife, she gave me the name of it. I don't want to destroy it. I actually wrote it down, but it's in another room. But she said that it gives that the medicine that he received will give him an adrenaline rush, right? But if they don't wean him off of that, it will make him crash as well. But the expectation is that he would that the average American citizen could be treated and overcome COVID as easily as he did. But we have a record of 210,000 people that have passed because of COVID, right? And so it is something to fear, and it is dangerous. The last thing I'll say, and it's in regards to your reference, FUBAR, right? Our country is not a FUBAR, right? We can repair this. We just need to get the right people in place.
I'm gonna pull a Kamala. I was talking about the Trump administration. So let's talk about that debate, man. I'll jump in. Let's just go back and forth on it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. I thought there were some on both parties bobbing and weaving around the question, and using that time to purposely use sound bites or statements to blah blah blah. I did some research. The term American people was used 57 times
Wow.
during that debate. The term COVID, um, twice.
How about coronavirus? Coronavirus.
COVID was used 6 times. Coronavirus, 0.
Wow.
But just sound bites. Making sure to go back and to say certain things. I saw a lot of abuse of the time, right? But what I really want to leave that word on, and we can come back and forth, is she didn't slice and dice him up like I thought she
Who's she?
would.
Who's she? Who you talking about?
Kamala Harris.
Oh, just checking.
Yeah, Kamala Harris did not. Let me not disrespect her at all. Vice President, possible running a Democratic vice presidential candidate. Kamala Harris did not slice and dice Vice President Pence to the degree I thought she did, but she made such an effective use of blunt statements, squinted eyes, and silly grins to get every point known. And many of she might have even watched our last podcast, because many of the
I hope so.
statements that you made and I made about this is how you redirect a conversation, I thought she employed some of those efforts. She never said, shut up, I'm talking, or shut up, blah, blah, blah. But she was like, Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. It's my turn. Very definitive. Or she would cut a look with her eyes, or she would giggle, or she would laugh. And she basically, talked to the American people the majority of the time. I mean, sometimes I was like, hey, we're over here. And she would snap back. Not that she could see that, but, it was that type of, we're over here. But she really engaged with the camera much more so than Pence did. Let me pause there. Go ahead. Let me hear what you got to say.
In regards to the interruptions, I wish that she would have just simply said, at some point, I wish that we could follow the agreements that our parties have landed on in regards to the amount of time, and try to stick to it as close as possible. I don't know if she would have been able to do that without raising alarm or alarming people about her Blackness, right? But I wish that she would have just kind of drew more attention to it, because he was in violation. He was really in violation of his time, and the moderator was seemingly let him get away with it. And she was trying to play nice, and that came across. To be honest, I feel like she missed some opportunities. Especially when Mike Pence said that she was, or the Democrats were politicizing the coronavirus. And I thought that she could have easily came back and said, no, the president has done that by driving around Walter Reed Hospital. The president has done that by arriving back at the White House and taking off his mask. The president has done that by being very intentional about trying to present very strong by not wearing a mask. And what he's done is he's contracted COVID-19 as well. Another opportunity that I think that she missed was when he was talking about. He said the American people would take offense, or the let me get you the quote. It said, the American people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked. That's a great disservice to the sacrifices the American people have made. I think that that was a great opportunity for her to say, I'm not talking about the American people. I'm not offended by anything that our medical workers and our essential workers and our first responders have done. My issue is not with the American people. My issue is with the Trump, with Trump and his administration. I thought that was another opportunity because he kind of slid some things in there that I just made me kind of cringe and raise an eyebrow. Like that's a lie, right? That's not at all what she said. So those are some of my thoughts. I thought she missed some opportunities.
I agree. I do remember that comment. Right after that, because he was still speaking, so she interrupted him and was like, "I was talking about your president." It was lost because he never stopped talking. So she threw a soundbite, and then the moderator asked her a different question.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't come back to it. So you're absolutely right. Missed opportunity there. Um, I really appreciated when her passion came through. She's so poised that a lot of times it's hard to see where emotion kicks in. And no, so for anybody watching, I'm not saying that she should cry or anything like that. But when I get heated about something, I'm getting your face. I'm going to let you know, and you're going to be like, David, you're emotional. Damn right, I'm emotional because you just said X, Y, and Z, and I'm not going to be lectured by you, right? So now she did say that. She's like, I'm not going to sit here and be lectured by you. And you saw a little of that rise come up. And she was like, I'm the only one on this stage who's ever done X. I'm the only one on this stage that's ever been X. So I'm not going to be lectured. And then she came back later and she even said something else to that same degree. I don't remember the exact statement, but or what she was referencing. But she's like, I'm not going to be lectured by you. The other part that I really saw her take command on is when she was telling the moderator, no, I'm going to respond to that, right? And she's like, you're out of time. Yes, I'm out of time, but because he took some of that time. So I'm going to need this time and I'm going to respond to that. And she did. And the moderator let her, right? Now, I don't know if the moderator should have let her or not. I think 2 minutes is 2 minutes. 1 minute is 1 minute. 30 seconds is 30 seconds, right?
Right. The rules are the rules, right?
Rules are the rules. But what I found it shocking that for the next 90 seconds, she went on defending her record and the moderator was silent. I was just like, okay, so you shut up, Pence and the moderator, because you was like, no, I'm going to respond to this. And I was thinking about, you know, as a grown man, you don't get to shut me up, right? But when I would have start saying something to my mama, and she'd be like, "No, one more word, and it's on and popping," and I just have to shut up because I'm like, she will fire off on me, and it was that type of a feeling. You know, my mama was a light skinned woman as well. You know, and I'm not saying they're similar. I'm just saying when I saw that moment, I was like, yeah. Anybody who heard that, she's gonna reach up over that plexiglass and pop you in a minute, knock that fly off your head. You might want to shut up. And the moderator was just like, say your piece.
I wanted to say that the moderator was Susan Page, right? And my only comment back is that was angry black woman, or pissed off, or or frustrated angry black woman privilege, right? Like, okay, all right, go ahead and say it, because I see where you're going here, and I'm not gonna get between you and this plexiglass, that fly, or Mike Pence, right? So go ahead and do it. That's my only comment on it.
I'm gonna sit here and be silent about it. Someone told me today. Let me preface it with this. I'm sure it happens to you, but I appreciate that when debates and when political issues or serious societal issues occur, that there are people around me who look forward to hearing what I have to say, right? And so that makes me feel good, not from a bragging standpoint or because I'm the authority figure, but people realize that if there's something to be said, I'm not shy about saying it, and then I'm going to give my opinion, whether it's appreciated or not, or so forth and so on. And I'm always very careful about the words I use. But someone told me today, and they said in their view, Kamala Harris was sassy, a little too sassy for my taste. And I listened and I heard it. And I was like, I understand why you would say that, but the reason you're saying that is because you don't have a lot of experience with Black women, right?
Mhm.
And not that, I shouldn't have said that. Not that Black women are just sassy, but the way she was coming at it was just letting this guy know, you are not going to overtalk me. And she was speaking with an authority that as a child of a Black woman, I could identify with instantly. Having older sisters, I can identify with it instantly. Being married to Black women, I can identify with it instantly. And I was like, okay, all right, somebody's about to shut up. I don't know who it is, but somebody's about to shut up and let this woman say what she got to say.
There was a lot of conversation about how much or how much she could push back. She didn't want to appear to be an angry Black woman, right? That's why I said that she wasn't angry. She was just using her Black woman privilege, right? But she wasn't an angry Black woman, but there was I'm certain that there was a lot of concern and conversation about how she would appear and present and how the American public would receive that. The conversation going into the debate was, we don't need to win this debate. We just don't need to lose it, right? We already have the lead. I'm always kind of afraid of that, right? Because Trump came out of left field in 2016.
Right.
And I feel like, all right, we don't need to win it by 30 points. Like the Lakers, when they take home the championship tomorrow, they don't need to win it by 30, but don't let it dip down to 12, right?
Right.
Right. Keep your foot on the gas, right? Keep your foot on the gas and make sure you have a comfortable lead. And with them, or with this presidential election, I remain concerned because there's a lot of unknowns. There's still whether or not Trump will concede if he doesn't win. And I'm not saying that he's not going to win if he doesn't win. Will he go to court and use his influence with the Supreme Court justices to make the decision about his presidency? Whether or not ballots are going to be counted, or mail-in ballots that have already been sent, are they going to be counted? Are they going to be viewed as valid? Are they going to be, is there going to be some hanging Chad moments and saying, well, this person did not notarize, or this person didn't put it in their mailbox within a couple miles from their house, it was actually dropped off in the mail? Who knows, right? And because for all those reasons, I'm concerned. And when I was watching last night's debate, I was like, I understand we don't need to, the Democratic Party don't need to win. They just don't need to lose. I respect that, but I also know that it's a debate. It's 4 years. It's 4 years in office, and you want to make sure that you're doing everything so you could win that seat.
Agreed. Interestingly, I don't have a whole lot more to say about the debate. The final thought that I really wanted to throw out there is, I think both camps came in with a message to deliver. Mike Pence's message was, Trump's your man. Trump would say we've done a very good job. That's his soundbite. I don't know what Pence would say, but Pence came in and said, let's keep dancing with the person that brought you to the party, because look at all the success we've had, so let's continue our role. And I firmly believe that we're going to win. Kamala Harris, on behalf of the Joe Biden campaign, came in to let people know, get out there and vote, right? You see what's going on. And if you want the change that, we started 12 years ago when Barack Obama came in office and Joe Biden, as his second in command, um, led the nation through economic recovery, through coming out of a recession, through job turnaround, all of that. If you want to see that again and see what Joe Biden can do now at the helm, now that he has 8 years of experience of assisting someone else doing it, make sure you get out there and vote. And I could appreciate that because her stance wasn't, you know, beat the Republican Party over the head with why the Democrats are better. She almost let him hang himself by his own rope and then say, listen to this guy, get out there and vote. Do you really want him in office anymore? Get out there and vote. Can you believe what he just said? Get out there and vote. And even on that note, she talked about one of the first things Joe Biden is going to do is repeal the tax cut for the rich that affects the one that gives a tax cut for the people making over $400,000 a year. He ran with that soundbite as, oh, you're going to repeal all the Trump tax cuts. And she's like, that's not what I said, right? And like you, missed opportunities. I don't think she had a significant enough window to come back over the top and be like, look, that's not what I said. You know that's not what I said. The part I'm talking about is the part that affects the rich. And on that note, and I'll stop talking after this, he said, you know, I think she said, I'm looking at X, Y, and Z for the American people. What Trump has done is is concerned with people who are like him, rich, fat cats and big business and so forth and so on. And it was that difference. I'm going to have to find that part in the speech and get it right. But I thought that was a very good point as well, that, you know, the Joe Biden campaign is about the American people. Everything Trump has done has been for the benefit of himself and others in financial positions like him.
Hey, if they're listening, right? Like you said, Kamala could have been vice president candidate. Kamala Harris may have been listening, right? And if she was, then I like what you said in regards to a rebuttal. That's not what I said, and you know that's not what I said, right? Don't have to get huffy and puffy, right? Just say that's not what I said, and you know that's not what I said. What I said was boom, right? I think those type of sound bites would go well because not only are you defending the debate tricks and employees that sometimes happen, right? It's an opportunity for you to show your own strength. I have a couple more thoughts, not a lot. Make America great again, right? That was like, we've been waiting.
I should have kept a straight face on that. I'm sorry.
Right. We've been waiting. Are we still running on the same motto or rhetoric that you ran on 3 years ago? Because you had 3 years to do that, right? And so again, ... The other thing that caught my eye this week was a video I saw about the Proud Boys, and it was a little disturbing. It's scary that we have people in this country that are so deaf and one-sided, and that when I see the Proud Boys, I'm reminded of how much division there is and how call them racist, but racist, right? Some people are still, or our country still is today. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of a country of a time when I wasn't born, but people looked at others as if they were less than and not deserving the equality and the humanity and the justice that they have because of their privilege. And I'm going to keep an eye on the Proud Boys, especially as we get closer to the debate, the election. But even so, after after the election. I'm going to keep an eye on that organization because it's pretty scary.
Yeah, speaking of the Proud Boys, you know, when you're ignorant and someone will put a mic in front of your face, you get the chance to be more ignorant. There's ignorant people everywhere of all races, nationalities, and so forth and so on. And it bothers me that they're getting so much press. It bothers me that 45 told them to, what is it?
Stand by.
Stand by and stand down and stand by. Was that it? It was.
Yeah, something.
So whatever he said, she tagged him on that last night. Kamala Harris tagged him on that. Mike Pence didn't touch it. He was like, I'm gonna leave that one alone. I ain't gonna go there with you. I want to bring up this point because I'm not trying to fact check, but I want to make sure that I speak on her right. What she said is Joe Biden believes that you measure the health and strength of America's economy based on health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based upon how rich people are doing. That's what she said. And I was like, right? Because that's exactly what I see. Trump's a businessman. And as a businessman, he's about doing whatever he has to do to maximize his dollar. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not justifying. I'm saying this is who he is, right? He's paid $750 in taxes, you know, in X number of years.
Fake news.
I'm a United States citizen. You know, I pay my taxes, but for my salary as compared to Trump's, if you found me a way to pay $750 in taxes this year, I'd take it too, right? And so it is what it is. Like I said, go do you, man. Go be rich, do whatever you want to do, take out ads in the newspaper against Black people if you want to, right? He did that with the Central Park Five. But just don't be president anymore and we'll be fine. And we need to move on. The other piece that you brought up just a little bit, what happens if he doesn't concede? So the election, the postmark has to be election day, right? So November 4th, if you're doing a mail-in ballot, you're
talking about in California.
Talking about the United States, the presidential election. Isn't that November 4th everywhere?
Okay. Let me hear your complete thought. I'm sorry, I interrupt.
So if you're doing a mail-in ballot, it has to be postmarked by the 4th. If you postmark it on the 5th, it won't be counted, right? So anything postmarked on or before the 4th will be counted as an actual vote if all things are equal. Let me just say that, right? And so unlike previous years, there was mail-in balloting that expired by a certain point, or maybe it didn't, but maybe it wasn't significant enough to sway, and then the actual polls. So once a poll closes, the news media and the reports can say, based upon where things are, we can project that this state's going to win, this state's a blue state, this state's a red state. We won't be able to say that for minimum 4 days, let's say after election day, just to receive the mail in. That doesn't even mean it's processed. Let's add another week for processing, right? And this is working around the clock. And then, you know, numbers for that. So it could be 11 to 14 days before a presidential decision is even made, at least made known to the public, right? And then if Trump somehow wins that, see, I told you the American people love me. If he loses, it's all fake, right? And then that process starts. I'm not worried, I'm not scared, but there's a concern right there if he refuses to leave office.
Yeah, regarding the election, that is why the Democratic Party is so concerned. They're saying, hey, we need to win by a landslide. So there's no question, right? We need to win by large margins.
Yeah.
As confident as Mike Pence was in his statement, I'm also confident that the American people are woke enough to not allow what has happened over the last 3 years to continue to happen for another 4, right? I'm confident in that. I was wrong. I've been wrong before, but I cannot imagine that after everything that has happened over Trump's presidency, that enough people won't go out and vote to get him out of office. And so that's one thought. I heard something on the radio that said some ballots are being questioned because someone didn't notarize or didn't sign it correctly or didn't date it. They signed it but didn't put the date on there, or their signature wasn't legible. Those are the ballots that I'm most concerned about, because there's a lot of people putting their ballots in already before the election. And you put your ballot in, you think it's going to be counted, and then you have and then a month later we realized that there was thousands of ballots that wasn't counted, and who knows the motivation of those people who's counting the ballots.
I got you. So we'll see. That, like I said, that's a concern. Again, you mentioned earlier, what we do is this is like you and I talking on the phone. So on any given phone conversation, I'd be like, hold up, man, I got to get something, because there's something I got to tell you about. So I just had that moment while you were talking. I was listening to what you're saying, but you mentioned the margin that would need to be won by, for this to make sense. And I kind of want to share with you some margins that were significant. And I'm not coming because I'm super smart on this one. I just looked it up. 1984, Ronald Reagan won the presidency by a margin of 97%. Ronald Reagan in 1980 won by 90%. I'm just looking at more recent. George H.W. Bush, 79%. Bill Clinton, 70%. One election, 68%, another one. Barack Obama, 67% first election. Second one, 61%. And then it goes on from there. Trump is like 56%, right? Based on what you said, I'm thinking a 70% margin has to be there to give it weight. Now, does that mean he's going to look at it and be like, wow, I only won 30% of the vote, I guess I should go? No, I think if he wins 3% of the vote, and it's that obvious, it's going to be a case for him to leave. I wish the government would have had a provision for this that was enforceable, and maybe they do, but it doesn't sound like there is. It sounds like there's rules on the books, like how electoral votes are played out and so forth, that have always been suggestions and never compromised, nor I can't think of the word. No one's ever challenged it. They just said, hey, California has X number of votes, that's where we're going. But I've known for a long time they didn't have to. I'm talking since government class in 11th grade at Monroe Junior High School in the summer. And that's in the 818. So Anyway, I knew that since then, but it's like it's never been challenged. And he's, I believe, willing to challenge it on all costs just so he doesn't have to leave office.
Yeah, he's going to challenge it. And the American people need to be prepared and ready for that. Yeah. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about whether or not people vote. And to be honest with you, I said I believe that the American people are going to go out and vote and get Donald Trump out of office. But you know what? That the American people go out and vote, and they reelect Donald Trump, I would accept it as I've accepted this, right? But then I might have to make some my own decisions. Like, do I want to be in this room with all these idiots, right? I might have to make some of my own decisions, because we all have choices. We all have choices, even if we think that we don't. We all have choices. Next week we'll probably be talking about the election and the debates and whatever is new about COVID. But I'm also looking forward to having some fresh conversation as well. And
Yep.
so, yeah, it's very heavy, right? The uncertainty kind of is weighing on me, and it's very heavy. And I'm looking forward to the elections coming and going, and for us to pick back up with some of our guests and pivoting into some other directions.
I feel that. Let's put a pin in it right there, man. I think we gave a very good breakdown, layman's view of the debate. I think we've talked Trump to the point where we're going to talk about him again next time, because again, that's current right now. And as much as I just don't like to give it a lot of space, that's what we need to talk about right now, because that's what's going on out there in the world. So it's been a good talk, man. I appreciate that. As always, you know that, but I can't wait to tell you what I've been listening to. So what you been listening to?
Listen to some DJ Quick. It
What?
doesn't make money. It don't make sense. Born and raised in Compton, or just like Compton. I also listen to some Exhibits, some Dub C. What you listening to, Dave?
New Edition.
What?
Yeah, I was going through some movies.
Wait. I was just dancing, and people that listen to us on audio only, they couldn't see my dance moves, man.
Yeah, he was doing his best Ralph Tresvant impersonation. But I was clipping and I watched the New Edition story again, and then that led into the Bobby Brown story, and so I was even this morning found a video that just came out recently. And when I say recently, last few years, most likely, with Johnny Gill and all the members of New Edition except Ralph Tresvant. He was the only one who wasn't there. No, I'm sorry, Ralph was there. Bobby Brown wasn't there.
Okay.
And then like today, I saw something that was like, Bobby Brown says that he he introduced Michael Jackson to the moonwalk. And people was chiming in and blah, 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 blah. And so somebody said, well, don't forget, Bobby Brown back in the day was a dancing fool. I mean, it's not super far-fetched that that's not true. Now, whether it is or not isn't the point, but yeah. I was checking that out. The actor who played Bobby Brown, yep, that's his name. He did a phenomenal job in both of those, and now he's on that show Power, about Power Book 2 with Ghost or whatever. But anyway, yeah, been listening to some New Edition, man, and me, when I listen to music, it's loud, so I've been bumping every little step you take. You got to cool it now. Ooh, watch out. Yeah, been grooving, man. And then I even pulled out some Ralph T with Stone Cold Gentleman and Sensitivity, and This Is Rated R. Pulled out some Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison, so just been having a good time, man. Just, bringing it back. Kids look at me, they don't even know what to say. They don't even bob their head and nothing. They just be like,
Who's that?
Dad, put on something else. I'm like, you want to put on something else? You go buy a car. How about that?
when you get your car, you get to touch your own radio. This is my radio. The boy don't touch my radio.
And I'm in it. I'm gonna control the radio still. So you want to control the radio, you better buy it yourself. So.
Hey, let me just tell you that my sister's listening. You put a smile on her face. Favorite group of all time, man. You just ran through the whole list of New Edition, from the original group to the patchwork that they did with Johnny Gill, and then the spinoffs, man. So my sister is smiling, and thank you for that, man. I know that she's an avid listener as well.
All good. Well, we've definitely reached the Digital Underground cutoff time of this show. Thanks for the conversation, man. That was good. I'm glad we got a chance to chop it up about the debates. I'm glad we got to laugh through it. Last time we didn't get to laugh about it that much. It was disgusting. It wasn't even worth the conversation we put into it, but we had to do it. And I like what you said in the beginning, that we opened this show by bringing you into our world. And I want to make sure we put some intent behind that, because that's what Brothers from the 818 is. right? We're giving you the view from two inner city brothers that, just grew up. We've been running these streets for 38 years, man. I mean, there's people out there with lives and careers and families that's 36, right? And when I say it like that, I mean, we've been running, you and I, independently hanging out for longer than people have been around that have lives and are doing significant things with them, right? It's not like we're just a couple years older than people. We've just been doing this. So I'm glad that we could have this time together on Thursday night this week. We'll be back to Tuesday next week, y'all. But I'm glad we could have this time. Say something to the people, man, so we can bounce.
Man, I'm happy for the evolution, man. I'm really grateful that we now have an intro. We got an outro. People see the evolution of the brothers from the 818. We are at podcast number 25. And
is that right? Wow.
Yeah, I think it's 25, man.
25, yeah.
So we got a quarter on. We got a quarter on the books, man. So let's keep it up. Hopefully everyone else is enjoying the conversation. I know that others are having conversations similar to this. Like you brought in some conversations you had. I brought in some conversation I had, and we're just piecing it all together. And hopefully people are enjoying it. If you have an opinion, if you have some comments, shoot us with your comments. And if you want to jump on, then we would love to have you on and be able to have you join the brothers from the 818.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Special shouts to all the people we shouted out. You know who you are. It's just always good to have that hang time and that fellowship and that conversation. Keep doing what you do. Special shout out to them Brown girls. They had I'm faulty. They had a podcast yesterday. I am gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out tonight. They're doing their thing. Their first episode went very well, and they're having a great time. So special shout out to them Brown girls.
No disrespect to them Brown girls. I said I ain't gonna check it out tonight because it's already late. I might check it out tomorrow, but I support them Brown girls.
There we go. Them Brown girls. So check out that subscribe link wherever it is, whatever corner it's in. You've been hanging with the brothers from the 818. My name is Dave. As you know, that's my man Caleb. And we just glad to spend this time with you. Check us out on YouTube from Brothers from the 818. You know that you're watching. We're streaming on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. I meant to throw that in there. Yeah, we finally got iHeartRadio for you listeners out there. I'm gonna do a commercial for iHeartRadio just so we could do it. Check out that intro. You already heard it. Let me get some feedback on that. What do you think? What's going on? We love to hear some comments, or if you know us, just hit us up and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I would love to hear you guys talk about. And we get a lot of that feedback as well. I know right now we're chiming in on the political front a lot, but that's what's going on, people. And you have to, whoever you are, you just gotta be in tune with what's going on. And when I say it like that, you deciding not to vote or not to engage silences your voice on voting day and beyond. That's the way I look at it. You had a chance to say something, you chose not to, so keep choosing not to, because your voice at this point is just chatter and opinion. So that's the way I see it. You got something to say about that? Let me know. We can talk about that too. On that note, we wish you guys well. Get some sleep, brother. You look good. You don't look like you're super tired, but
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm energized.
Get it. And we're gonna do this again. I enjoyed spending some time with you this weekend. Thanks for that.
Thank you for coming down, brother. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Y'all be blessed out there, brothers from the 818. We are out. Peace.
Peace.
You are down with
The brothers from the 818.